clean, so I just filled up the reservoir for the clutch system there, hydraulic, so at least I can get it moving. And yeah, the service light comes on. It's such a small module. It just goes off of odometer for whenever you need an oil change. It tells you. Yeah, the oil level is good in the thing, and yeah, I'm going to do an oil change. I'll give it a couple of heat cycles, and then I'll put in fresh stuff there. So I'm going to bring it over to the house and work on it over there, because there's hydro over there. Where I am here, there's none. But yeah, to clean up the brakes and stuff, I did that all over here. You just hand tools and all that. But yeah, when it comes to cars and electronics, I tell you, like, they put so many electronics in. So here's a module, and this is the module I just pulled out of the car. I want to show you something. So my blinkers stopped working like quite a few years ago, and it ended up, it's got this control module for your lights. Well, you can pop the top off of it. This is out of the Acura. And there's the circuit board. Well, all it was, instead of buying a new module, what I did was it needed a resistor. So I took my meter to them, and then they're marked right on them. Like, your resistors are marked, like they're stamped on them, so you know what they are. And yeah, one was out. So it just wasn't there. So Radio Shack got a new resistor, soldered it in, got my lights back. And then it's so easy too. Like, you put it back together, clip it down, plug it in, good to go. Like, bam, done, fixed. Cost me 10 cents for a resistor instead of a couple $100 for a module that I didn't need. You know what I mean? But that's me as a tech. You know what I mean? Like, cause and effect. And if you're willing to put in a little bit of time, you can save yourself a pile of money. And if you take care of it, it's fully serviceable. Like, oh, it's crazy. But this is out of my toolbox, my automotive box. So these are air fuel sensors for Toyota. So this is a Corolla. This is Highlander. But guys would throw these out. So they plug in the computer and throw a code, bank 1, sensor 1, malfunction. And then what they would do is they'd replace them. Well, they throw them in the garbage. And listen, I pick garbage along the side of the road, like, because I don't like seeing it. I throw stuff in the recycling, I throw the garbage, I separate it, I return the beer cans, and I get money. But recently, like in the last 2 weeks, I haven't been picking up any garbage. So somebody listened to me, like, thank you, because I do like going for walks and not having to pick up garbage. I'd rather just go for a nice walk. And yeah, but I used to pick these out of the garbage. And half the time, the sensor would be good. Like, say, it would be the end or whatever, like the seal failed. So you just simply repin it. So if you know how to work electrical, you know what I mean? Like, a car is basically a rolling computer. Like, it's the same thing, ones and zeros, right? And if you understand how it works and you can narrow it down and find the problem. So yeah, corrosion on the sensors, because sometimes, like, the little rubber seal would go, they get salt because they're under the vehicle, out in the elements. And yeah, I disconnect it, save all the pins on the backside, cut the wires, and then I had a pin kit. I re-crimped brand new pins onto the end of them, re-crimped them, I throw them in my box. So there were times too where I'd have like a vehicle come in and I'd work on it and it'd show code or whatever code it was for the air fuel sensor, which calculates the charge after the cylinder, so how much fuel and what you're burning, like your ratios, your air fuel mixture, making sure that it's proper, and it calculates it off of what this sensor picks up. So I'd have them in my toolbox, and then $200 a sensor, and you get a car in that's old and is kind of beat up, and the guy's just a normal Joe working, $200 to replace these. A lot of times people didn't have the money, so what I used to do, I clear the code, I crack the sensor loose that was in the car, right? I'd check it, and if it was pins it just needed or something like that, but I wouldn't replay it, I'd diagnose, because most of the time they wouldn't buy it right away because they had to save up money to do it. Where I'd get them going to their car and I'd be like, listen, I got one in my toolbox, I just rebuilt it, I can't guarantee it's going to work 100%, but I tested it and you should be good. I cleared your code, meet me over at Tim Hortons parking lot, my lunch is in an hour and a half. So they take off, and then all of a sudden they meet me there. I crawl under the car on my lunch. I get a free coffee out of the deal and give them a sensor. I pulled it out of the garbage, and they never come back with an issue. It just worked because it's repairable, but nobody puts in the time to save stuff. Like, yeah, perfect example too. Clutches. So this is a clutch for a snowmobile, right? Like, it's pretty dirty. It's definitely in need of a rebuild. They're all date stamped. So this is a 96 it was manufactured. Yeah, all you have to do, if they're in good shape and they're not wore out, like to the point where it actually wore the housing and the castings of it, a rebuild kit. You put one of these in it, you can bring it back to factory spec. This clutch right here I bought over the winter, and it was in just as bad a shape, but I just rebuilt it. I got a quick spring there and I got my weights in it. This is for one of my sleds that I'm going to throw an engine together for, and this is just a basic starting point calibration that I just zip tied to the thing because I have all the parts lying around. It's just like the Integra. I got parts everywhere for the thing. I just picked up a clutch off of Marketplace from a guy. He had a project and he ended up not going through with it, but brand new clutch. And he even came with ARP bolts. Those are like $100 for those things. He threw that into the deal. This is the slave I bought whenever I blew it out of the car, factory one. I ended up buying that shortly after I knew I needed one, but I never got around to putting it in because time for a clutch anyways. I opened it up to check it out, all brand new, never installed. Seals, bearings, came with everything, pressure plate. And then I went to the manufacturer because I was going to do a flywheel instead of take mine out, get it returned, the factory one, and $300. So I placed an order. I got back to the guy, telling him, okay, I'll come down, pick it up. He was selling it for $500, and there was a picture of the flywheel I just ordered. So I ended up, I'm like, how much do you want for the flywheel? And he's like, well, that's part of the kit, $500. I'm like, oh. So I called back and I canceled the $370 US clutch, like the flywheel that I just purchased from the manufacturer. So they canceled the order, and yeah, like good things happen, man. I'm telling you, it's good. I'm putting it to use. The guy was happy to see it go to use. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to get my car on the road and it needed a clutch. So yeah, it's one of those things. Like, another thing, Marketplace, man. I love recycling. Like, I don't throw stuff